How's it going, everybody? The best is the best who was the best. Never will be there, but none before me. There'll be none after me. Therefore, I am the one and only Jacoby, and welcome to Wrestling Made Simple. We got an action-packed week this week with your news of the week, followed by your SmackDown and Raw reviews, and then we're going to review Elimination Chamber 2024. We then have your drink of the week, followed by the Battle Droid of the week. Let's get into the news this week, though, as a WWE star has confirmed they are officially retired, as Robert Roode has officially retired from in-ring competition and is going to focus on his backstage work as a producer. Awesome in-ring career for Robert Roode. He has won TNA Gold. He has won WWE Gold. He is a one-time United States champion, two-time Raw Tag Team champion, one-time SmackDown champion, NXT champion, two-time and TNA World Heavyweight champion, six-time TNA World Tag Team champion, two-time NWA World Tag Team champion, and a King of the Mountain champion. Shout out to Robert Roode, a man who has truly reinvented himself everywhere he's went, from beer money to being a corporate champion to being glorious, to being a dirty dog, to being a robe-wearing tag team with Chad Gable. He has truly done everything there is to do in this business. So shout out to Robert Roode. And a former WWE champion finally returning to WWE 2K. Yes, it's official, as CM Punk is now back in WWE 2K24. He will be a DLC in the season pass. Awesome to see. I can't wait to see him back in the game. It's going to be awesome to actually hear Cult of Personalities play and hear the clobbering time come back in WWE 2K24. And finally, some sad news. As original Four Horseman, Ole Anderson has passed away. WWE Hall of Famer, WCW star. This man helped make the Four Horsemen what they were today. He was a revolutionary, a pioneer, and he will be missed. Thank you very much, Ole, for everything you've done. And as always, we have the 10-bell salute. Rest in peace, Ole Anderson. And now let's move on to SmackDown. SmackDown kicked off with Tiffany Stratton versus Liv Morgan. Tiffany Stratton would pick up the win on this pre-taped SmackDown, as most of the talents were already in Australia. So this SmackDown was taped after last week's SmackDown. Tiffany Stratton would pick up the win. I just didn't understand this. I mean, they were trying to book Liv Morgan very heavily for the Elimination Chamber as a huge babyface who was on a way for revenge against Liv Morgan. So I didn't understand this booking. I'll explain it more after my Elimination Chamber review, which will come before my Raw review. We then get Drew McIntyre said if he loses the Elimination Chamber, his entire career is useless as CM Punk's return. He is just firing shots, man. We then get Braun Breaker making his main roster and SmackDown debut versus Dante Chen. It was a very, very quick 3 squash match, and you would have Braun Breaker pick up the win very easily. We would then get Ashante 3 Adonis and Cedric Alexander going to Ashante's house. Ashante had to try different outfits until he found one that he thinks could work for their tag team. It was just a funny kind of comedy skit, but I am happy they're using Cedric Alexander. We then get New Catch Republic versus Judgment Day, Dominic Mysterio and JD McDonough. New Catch Republic would pick up the win in a hard-fought match, And it kind of made me worry for their tag team match at Elimination Chamber. We then get the Authors of Pain versus the Street Profits. The Authors of Pain would pick up the win after the match. Karrion Kross would attack Bobby Lashley's arm with a steel chair. I guess they're going to continue this feud until WrestleMania. I will also be giving away a WrestleMania card that I see it right now later on. We then get Roman Reigns inviting Grayson Waller into his locker room to talk and tell him something only meant for his ears. The cameras would cut to black. We don't know what that is, and it will remain unknown for a little while. I will talk about that later. We then get Drew McIntyre taking on L.A. Knight. Yeah, L.A. Knight would come out and would have a hard-fought match with Drew McIntyre. Unfortunately, it would end in DQ after Kevin Owens would attack McIntyre after getting thrown into him while doing commentary on the outside. This basically led to a big brawl of all 6 men on the outside, just going around, beating the shit out of each other before Elimination Chamber. It was a fun SmackDown. The pre-taped always takes away, in my opinion, from the feeling of an actual SmackDown. So I felt that there could have been more done. But it was a fun SmackDown. I enjoyed it, and it really got me hyped for Elimination Chamber, which, yes, I did get up at 4 a.m. to watch it live. I had food prepared from the night before. I had dip. I had everything ready to go. Now let's go into Elimination Chamber, as they actually had a kickoff show, which is something we really haven't seen in the Triple H era at all. You had the Kabuki Warriors versus Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell for the Tag Team Championships. This was a really cool way to get Indy Hartwell on the show as an Australian-born superstar. It was awesome to see Indy Hartwell get to perform in front of her home country. The Kabuki Warriors would retain, but still, the real winner of this match was Indy Hartwell. We then get your main show as it kicked off with the Women's Elimination Chamber match. It would be Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez, Tiffany Stratton, and Becky Lynch. It would kick off with Naomi and Tiffany Stratton going at it. Tiffany Stratton was the MVP of this chamber, so I kind of saw why they got her go over on SmackDown, but at the same time, Liv Morgan would eliminate Tiffany Stratton. You would have Raquel Rodriguez be eliminated by Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair would then... we kick off with Naomi and Becky Lynch. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot, and I apologize. You would have Naomi and Tiffany Stratton get eliminated, then Raquel Rodriguez be eliminated by Bianca Belair, who came in last. Liv Morgan would then be eliminated by Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch would win the Elimination Chamber and is going to challenge Rhea Ripley. I really wish that Rhea Ripley would face Liv Morgan, but I don't know. I wish that Rhea Ripley, I think Liv Morgan would be a way better choice, in my opinion. We then get your Tag Team Championship match, as you would have the Judgment Day defend against the New Catch Republic in a 17-minute match. I guess only 4 matches being on the card really allows teams to shine. It was cool to see, but New Catch Republic picking up the Tag Team Gold would have been way better than, I think, Judgment Day holding on to it. But it does make me excited for what's going to happen at WrestleMania, in my opinion, for the Tag Team Gold. We then get your men's elimination chamber, as it would be Drew McIntyre going against Bobby Lashley, Kevin Owens, L.A. Knight, and Logan Paul and Randy Orton. This would come down. It would start off with Bobby Lashley getting eliminated by Drew McIntyre along with L.A. Knight. Kevin Owens and Logan Paul would get eliminated by Randy Orton. Logan Paul was going for the brass knuckles and would get hit with an RKO after pulling out the brass knuckles, which was awesome. It was an RKO truly out of nowhere. Randy Orton was selling his injured back the whole time. If it really is injured, then awesome job by Randy Orton putting on the performance. If it wasn't injured, then awesome job by Randy Orton putting on the performance. Logan Paul would then use the brass knuckles on Randy Orton before leaving the chamber, allowing Drew McIntyre to pick up the win. And Drew McIntyre will go face Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I thought it was a fun match. I really did enjoy the Elimination Chamber. I thought the women's match was better than the men's. And then we move on to your main event of Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley defending her women's world championship in front of her home crowd in Australia. Thought this was cool to see. Rhea Ripley would pick up the win with a riptide. Nia Jax showed some good promise, but it was clear Rhea Ripley was working more in that match than Nia Jax, in my opinion, in my professional opinion. But it was a fun Elimination Chamber. I didn't think there was a bad match on the card. I thought every match was slated where it should be. I would have switched the women's and the men's Elimination Chamber. I knew the main event had to be Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax. There was no question that they were going to put that on last. There was also the Grayson Waller effect with Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. That was probably your worst segment of the night. If I had to give that a grade, the segment itself would get a C+. Overall, I thought it was a great show, and I'll give it an A-. Let's move on to Raw. As Raw kicked off with its first match of Sami Zayn versus Shinsuke Nakamura in a great match. Really thought this was a fun match. Sami Zayn would pick up the win over Shinsuke Nakamura. It was fun. It was, it had some close calls. Sami Zayn actually kicking out of the second rope. Kinshasa was unbelievable to me. I didn't think that would happen. I thought that would be the match ender, but for some reason, some part of me is like, he's going to get the shoulder up, isn't he? He's going to keep that shoulder up, and he is going to win this match. And sure enough, 2.5, he got that shoulder up, and he then picks up the win with a haluva kick. Thought this was awesome. We then get Raquel Rodriguez in kind of a squash match against Chelsea Green. I don't understand that. I think Chelsea Green deserves a bit more respect than what she's getting. We then got a hint that the Intercontinental Championship match might be at WrestleMania, might be a multi-man match, maybe even a ladder match, as several people appeared to Adam Pearce. I would love to see this. I think it's the right way to get the title off of Gunther, and I could easily see someone like Chad Gable picking up the win with that. We then get Imperium versus the New Day in a street fight, and all was legal. They brought out everything they could, and Imperium would pick up the win over the New Day. I thought it was a fun match, but nothing really too big to write home about. We then get Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks defeating Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae in a women's tag team match. There was no question that they were going to win. I truly think that Shayna Baszler and Zoe Starks are going to go into WrestleMania to face for the women's tag team championships. We then get your semi-main event of Nia Jax versus Liv Morgan, which would end in DQ after Becky Lynch would interfere and attack Nia Jax. It was an okay match. It was nothing too write home about. Again, it didn't have long enough, in my opinion, to go for. You would then get your main event of Cody Rhodes versus Grayson Waller with Austin Theory. It would actually be a fun match, and Cody Rhodes would be able to pick up the win over Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller actually showing off his in-ring style that he really hasn't gotten to show that much on the main roster. So that was fun to see. Cody Rhodes would pick up the win. But then Paul Heyman would come out, and Cody Rhodes would say, "The bloodline isn't hunting me, I'm hunting the bloodline." I really liked that. I thought that was a good line by Cody Rhodes, and I really look forward to the Cody Rhodes versus the Bloodline. He did challenge The Rock at Elimination Chamber. That was the whole point of that saying. He challenged The Rock to a singles match wherever The Rock wants. I imagine it's going to turn into a tag team match at WrestleMania 40. And but I like that he's going on this. I'm not being hunted. I'm the hunter. I think that's a very cool little line. We then get. Let me give you my WrestleMania card, by the way, as I see it. The matches that have been announced: Lynch versus Rhea, Rollins versus Drew. These for both the world titles, the Raw titles. We then get Bayley versus Io for the women's WWE Championship. I imagine Dakota Kai will be thrown in there, and it will be made a triple threat match. We then get Roman versus Cody for the WWE Championship. I imagine that'll be the main event of night 2. And I've heard the rumblings that I think it's going to happen of The Rock versus and Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the main event of night 1. So yeah, I truly see that one happening. I'm hearing a lot of weird things for the United States Championship. I'm hearing it might be another ladder match, but I think that's what's going to happen for the IC title. So Orton versus Paul for the United States Championship and Gunther versus Gable. If not, it will become a ladder match for the IC title with a bunch of guys of Gable, Bronson Reed, Sami Zayn, and probably Kofi Kingston, I imagine, might be thrown in there. Maybe the members of New Day. Awesome Truth versus Judgment Day for the tag team championships. I completely easily see that one happening. Uso versus Uso, Jimmy and Jay. That match is basically all but official. Cargill versus Belair is the match I will easily see happening. Then you have Styles versus Knight. I think that would be a great singles match for LA Knight to truly show his prowess, and maybe one of the last singles matches for AJ Styles. The Kabuki Warriors defending their titles. I imagine they're going to defend their titles, and I truly think it's going to be against Zoe Starks and Shayna Baszler. I truly believe that. KO's definitely going to have a match. I'm just wondering who right now. For some reason, besides Sami Zayn, Omos popped in my head. I don't know why, but I could see that one, and I think it would be great. And then I think we get a rematch of John Cena versus Solo Sikoa. And then we're going to get a 6-man tag team match of the Pride, Bobby Lashley, and the Street Profits versus the final chapter. You would have. Who would you have? Final chapter. Who is that? You would have. My mind's drawn a blank for some reason. Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. My mind just stopped working. I don't know why. It just stopped working. And then finally, you would have Rey Mysterio versus Santos Escobar. And I feel that is going to be your WrestleMania card. That's 16 matches, and I can see every one of those matches happening, except for maybe the KO match. That one's kind of a stretch for me, but they got to put Kevin Owens on the card, right? There's no reason why Kevin Owens wouldn't be on the card. I could use a drink. How about some Hawaiian jungle juice? 1 bottle of white rum. This is a drink for a party, by the way, not one person. This is a lot of alcohol, and you are gonna mix it in a big container. So 1 bottle of white rum, 2 bottles coconut rum, 1 bottle of curacao, 2 big cans of pineapple juice, 1 bottle of orange juice, some apples, some oranges. You're gonna cut all that up. You're gonna throw it in a bowl. You're gonna mix it up, and you're gonna stir. Please drink responsibly. Do not drink and drive after this. Do not drink if you are under 21 in the United States, and do not overconsume on alcohol. And now, everybody, it is time for the Battle Droid of the Week. The Battle Droid this week, Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff has been a vocal critic of AEW, which I understand. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But just let people enjoy wrestling, man. I mean, come on. This guy has recently come out and said he would rather have his arm chew off his own arm than sit through watching AEW Dynamite. I think Eric Bischoff is just angry that TNT has brought in more wrestling and that Turner Network has decided to go back into the wrestling game after what happened with him and all of his wrestling. So, Eric Bischoff, you need to just calm down, brother. You are a legend. You are a revolution. You helped make the NWO. You helped create something that was the last alternative to WWE before AEW. So, I understand your anger, but at the same time to calm down, brother.
Uh-oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening. Next week, we start the road to WrestleMania. The road to Philly has begun, and we are on it. We're going full speed to Atlanta for WrestleMania 27, what has been called one of the worst WrestleManias of all time. Is it truly? Find out next week in my review, and we'll see what you guys have to say as well. Leave your comments down below on how you feel about WrestleMania 27 and Elimination Chamber. As always, I've been the big guy. Thank you very much for listening.